It's your boy Trees Trim signing on, screaming, go get the money. Hope we all off to a positive and productive start. And this is the Hot Seat Podcast. If it's your first time tuning in, welcome. This platform was designed to put a spotlight on entrepreneurs, small business owners, actors, musicians, and artists right here in our own community. We feel like far too often, true support comes from strangers. We want to change that. Our mission here is to educate, encourage, motivate, inspire, uplift, and most importantly, network. So sit back and relax, and if you enjoy this episode, please make sure to like, share, and comment, and most importantly, smash that subscribe button. Thanks in advance. Welcome back to the Hot Seat Podcast. I'm your host, Trees Trims. In the building today, we got a very special guest. This brother is knocking down doors in Hollywood. You might have seen him in hit TV series On My Block. If not there, alongside Academy Award winning actor Ben Affleck in the movie The Way Back. He's been a part of some interesting commercials and some pretty dope music videos as well. Outside of his passion for acting, he's also founder and owner of Not From This World clothing brand. Without further ado, please help me welcome Herbert Morales to the show. Yes, sir. I'm still working on my whole intro thing, but at the same time, man, you got a lot of incredible things you're working on right now. Yep. I really respect you. I really want people to get a little bit about your background.
Born in East LA, and I grew up in Norwalk, which is about like 30 minutes away from LA until like 9 years old, 10 years old. And then when I was 10 years old, my parents and I, we moved up to Victorville, the high desert.
Victorville, okay.
Yeah, it's in the high desert. It's like an hour and a half away from LA. It's not, it's a push, but not too bad.
I heard a lot of people from Compton is moving out to Victorville, man.
It's cheap. Well, it's cheaper than LA. But yeah, man, so grew up there from like 10, and then, spent elementary, middle school, high school out there, and then eventually went out to college with Monty out there in Cal Poly in Pomona.
Yes, sir.
And then went out there, decided, the whole school route wasn't for me. And then ended up leaving after my sophomore year, like the first couple months into my sophomore year. And then just decided that I wanted to start my own clothing company in college, my sophomore year.
Okay.
And then I dropped out. I left college, and then I just continued doing that. And then obviously, to fund my brand and events and the clothes and all that, I ended up working like 6 or 7 jobs, like in 2017, like at a temp agency.
Okay.
Where I was doing I was working at a military airport, like going into the airplanes and helping the military load up the airplane with their bags.
Oh, cargo, everything.
And they had cargo and get in there and then take out all the bags with like the big old conveyor belt, and then be up like 20 feet up in the air and then under the airplane doing that, and then working like at a furniture company, Dr. Pepper, Snapple, worked at Tilly's, at the mall.
Explain to me a little bit about what it was about college that you felt like wasn't really working for you.
I honestly don't know. I tell my parents, I don't know what it was, but as soon as I stepped the first day into college, I was like, this is gonna be like, I know, not saying college is bad for everybody, but it just wasn't, it just wasn't
your avenue.
It wasn't for me. I knew it from the second I stepped on campus, but what I did like about it was the social aspect, meeting people like Monty and all my other, friends that we still keep in touch with to this day.
Right.
I just didn't feel like what I was learning I was gonna use in life. So I was like, I'd rather, waste money than waste my time. So that's why I ended up leaving, and that's when after that is, I started my brand in college, and then I ended up working all those jobs to be able to fund my brand.
Right.
Yeah.
In today's society, people are going to school and getting a degree. Not only getting a degree, but a lot of times putting themselves in a big debt.
Right.
And then going out in the world and not necessarily working in the field that they study.
Right.
So early on, you notice I'm not gonna really need that to do what it is that I want to do in life.
Which I feel like if you're gonna become a doctor or lawyer, you have to get it.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to do that.
Right.
I didn't know what I wanted. How people say you find yourself in college,
mm-hmm.
and then you progress into the real world.
Right.
and usually some people might even lose themselves in the real world.
Right.
Well, I lost myself in college, and I found myself after college in the real world.
Right.
So it was kind of like the opposite for me. Once I got out of college, I was like, okay, I know what I want to do. I have an idea of what I want to do.
Okay.
Instead of spending 4 years in there and wasting and being in debt for X amount of years, I was
Right,
like, let me
right.
just cut this short and struggle for a little bit and trying to work different jobs. And so what I feel like people should do when they don't know what to do, work jobs you hate, so it forces you to think about what you want to do.
Right. That's a good motivation right there.
Yeah, and I'm not talking bad on college, but it's just what
No, college is great.
Yeah, college
But
is great. It's just what
it's geared towards certain professions.
yeah.
You know,
Especially now in like our generation, like social media, the internet, YouTube.
works
You can-
fast.
you-
You
I
can reach
learned
so many people.
Yeah, I learned on my own like how to design, how to ship, how to print, I learned everything like through YouTube and or after college I ended up working with this company at an internship at a clothing brand in Hollywood, and I was there for like 6 months. So I got to learn from the CEO instead of and work with like the marketing team and everybody and learn how to ship orders. So I learned from a boss from his own clothing brand that he's already had for like 4 years and a successful one at that.
Right.
So I learned from him and then just applied everything he did to my own.
And I think that's incredible because it's real similar to my road to becoming, a master barber and going through an apprenticeship and kind of not only being able to gain clientele, but experience and
Relationships.
knowledge
Yep.
and learning the business aspect of things. Because I think a lot of people go into things with a passion and they might not necessarily know the business side, and that's a lot of times where people get taken advantage of.
Right.
So I really respect your road to that. So not from this world is your clothing brand.
Yeah, not from this world. Yep.
Tell us a little bit more about, the brand, the concept.
Yeah, so I wanted to start something where people could if you look good, you feel good, and if you feel good, you perform good. So I wanted something to where when people wear my clothes, whether it be my jacket, a hat, a hoodie, a beanie, whatever it may be, they can feel the high quality of the garment. It's not like some.
You didn't get ripped off.
Yeah, you didn't get ripped off. You know you're gonna have a high quality with you for years down the road.
Okay.
And not just that, but where they can relate to the meaning behind it, which is the most important part for me. Be 1,000% truly who you are, and don't, like we were saying before, don't intentionally try to be different than the rest, because you're only going to end up like the rest. Be yourself, and that's how you'll be different. The authenticity of yourself, and just be yourself, and that's how you'll be able to separate yourself from the crowd. The most satisfying part for me is me getting like emails, texts, DMs from people I have never even met, ordering for my brand, notfromthisworldshop.com.
Right.
And then telling me, you know what, like this is my first time ordering from you, but so in every order I put like a postcard, explaining to them what my brand means, and then by them hitting me up and telling me, you know what, I love the message behind it, I love what it means. It inspired me to try something that I was so fearful of.
Right.
And once I tried it, I succeeded it and I achieved it, and I just realized it was all in my head. And that's what's the most satisfying part to me, is getting those type of messages and them being like, you know what, like you motivated me to go do something. And then like I'll have my Instagram on there too, and then they'll look on my Instagram and see what I'm doing, and like, you know what, like you motivated me and inspired me to do something, out of the ordinary maybe.
Absolutely.
And, just try it. If it fails, it fails, but at least you tried. And
if it works, it's like, yo, we on our way.
Exactly. If it works, it works. So that's the most satisfying part to me.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's incredible, man. I love that because just like you, I have a brand, and building a brand is really tough.
Yeah.
And having a concept that people can relate to and stand behind is a process.
And not just that, but just the fact that like I'm a night owl. So like I like at night is where I get my best ideas. So just to be able to create something at night or whenever, right, and just to put it on a physical product and be able to sell it and be able to have people relate to it and then send you messages like you liked it, you're like, okay, like
that's the motivation.
I'm doing something
right.
And a lot of people might not even like what you're doing or like the designs or like the meaning behind it, but you're not doing it for those people. You're doing it for the people that actually relate to it. And because you can't please everybody.
Right.
If you try to please everybody, you'll go crazy.
Right.
So you gotta just do what you like, not what you think other people might like, because then you're not gonna get anywhere. I like to put out stuff that I like, and if I like something, whatever it is, you can reach so many people through organic engagement.
I agree with that. So, again, the clothing line is dope. Go ahead and shout them out. Let them know where they can get your brand. Let them know the website. Let them know your hits so that we can go ahead and get that going. Because a lot of times when we're doing podcasts, we wait to the very end of the podcast to plug our guests.
Right.
And really, that doesn't leave much room or benefit for the guests even coming on.
Right. All right, so what's up, guys? So you guys can go ahead and check out my brand at notfromthisworldshop.com or at notfromthisworld on all social media platforms on Instagram, Twitter, and go ahead and copy some dope stuff.
Dad hats, trucker hats,
Yep.
the dope tees,
T-shirts, beanies,
man. Like I said, man, I love those. I love those T-shirts. The Freedom one was the one that
you should have told me.
The Dub tee.
Yeah.
We'll link up, man, because I like to support brands. Like I'm not looking for a freebie. Like if you got something for free, I'll take it. I ain't gonna lie. But at the end of the day, like as we're growing these independent businesses and we don't have big corporations behind us, we want that genuine support. So, which brings me to the next thing, because it seems like all of our guests don't just do one thing. They got multiple roles. So as we transition from founder and owner of Not From This World clothing brand, we want to get into some of the acting. You're a full-on actor. This is my second episode of the podcast, and I'm sitting down with somebody that's actually living out his dreams and kind of took his own road to getting there. And I really respect that, like man to man. So
Thank you.
I need some love on that, man. What struck your interest, or what kind of got you into feeling like, hey man, I want to be in front of the film. I want to be in front of the camera. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I want to be in front of the camera, and I want to be seen, and I feel like I can depict these roles that people need in these films. Like what started that?
Yeah, so honestly, all the stuff you just mentioned right now, I wasn't even thinking about that.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people say, your career, you find your career or your career finds you. I felt like acting found me. I wasn't even looking into it. I didn't even know you could do acting if you weren't. I was so naive to the idea. I thought you had to be born into a family that was actors and actresses and had all these connections. And then just boom. I didn't know you could just take an acting class and just go for it. So it brings me back to, me working all those jobs and just trying to find myself and being around older people that were just like complacent about their life and just kind of like, well, this is my life.
This is it.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. Like that's what they wanted to do, but that's not what I wanted.
You wanted more.
So yeah, I wanted more. So it all went down to first of all, and it was back in high school actually where it struck my interest. My friend, she was an extra on like Nickelodeon shows like iCarly and stuff like that.
Okay.
And she told me, she was like, I was playing on the basketball team at that time. She told me, she was like, hey, I'm on iCarly. I'm on like as an extra, right? She was like, all you have to do is drive to LA and just be an extra and just go in there. And I was like, I don't think my mom's gonna want to drive from Victorville an hour and a half to LA to be an extra, and because I didn't drive at the time back then. I was like, right. I told my mom and I told my dad too, and they were both like, no, like we're not doing that. So, but it sparked my interest, so I started looking up like, I guess how to be an actor, like being on iCarly or Drake and Josh and all those TV shows that were popular back in the day.
Right.
And So that didn't happen, and then what I just that, but like other TV shows, they're like, we're not gonna drive it out. We're not gonna take you to school, take you to basketball practice, pick you up from basketball practice, go to LA and be an extra, you know.
Right.
So that it was that part, but so I went to college, the whole thing left, worked all those jobs trying to find myself, and then trying to find myself is when me and my dad were just randomly watching Transformers on TV.
Okay.
And he was like, randomly, I feel like that was like my angel, like coming down, like telling me what to do. And he was like, why don't you try acting? I was like, what do you mean try acting? Like, don't you have to be born into the industry? And I was naive, that's what I thought. He was like, no, just look up an acting class and just try to do it. And I was like, okay. So I got my phone and my laptop at the time, and then I started looking at acting classes. Started researching them for like that week. I did that, and then I ended up booking a voiceover class to do voiceover for like cartoons or commercials, and stuff like that. And
that's a lucrative business in itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I ended up doing that for a month. I fell in love with it, and I was like, let me try being like on camera. So I ended up booking another class in LA in Hollywood, and failed miserably. I failed in front of like 30 people because I had never done like anything like and just me being in front of all these 30 people reading a script. I didn't know how to dissect a script.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what the hell to do,
Mm-hmm.
And I got cotton mouth, my throat was dry because I was so nervous.
Right.
I didn't even get the words out. I failed miserably my first class, but I fell in love with it, and I was like, wait, something's wrong, or something good is going on here. Like I failed at it, but I love it. So I just kept going at it, and what would happen is that every class, after the class was over, the acting teacher would be like, okay, who stood out in the class in a good way? And then they would like everybody clap and then tell them what they did good, what they can improve on. And it was a 6-week class. So I was like, before the 6-week class is over, I need them to say that I did something right.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually, I think it was like the 5th week, I kind of got in the groove of it, and they picked me that I, performed the best in that class, and that I kind of like evolved from week 1 to week 5. And then I just kind of kept going after that. I was ready to start auditioning.
Okay.
At the time, I didn't have any representation, any agents or managers or anything like that. So I was just doing everything on my own.
Wow.
So I was just like submitting myself for extra roles.
Okay.
Driving for no money to do like you got to do stuff for free.
Right.
Yeah. So I was driving at that time. I was living in Victorville still. So I was driving an hour and a half to LA without traffic. So with traffic, it would be 2.5 hours.
Right.
The longest I did was 3.5 hours to Venice. So I ended up just doing stuff for free, and I wasn't thinking about the money though. I was just thinking about this is the passion for it, and that's what I ended up. I just felt happy that I finally found what I wanted to do. Besides, my clothing company and all that, but I was like, what else can I do? And I was just happy to find something that I really love doing. So I was driving, for no money, doing short films, web series, commercials, whatever I could get my hands on, not for the money, but to see who I can meet, like relationships, who I can connect with, and whether it be other actors, casting directors, producers, directors, whatever it is, get their information, get their number, their Instagram, whatever it is, and just follow up with them and stay in contact with them. So I was doing that I started acting in 2017, like in October 15th, 2017. I started acting, and then I think December is when I got like my first lead role in a web series, and then after that it kind of.
So wait. Let me slow you down now. That was your first job?
No. My first job was extra roles, just all extra roles for those like 3 months.
Okay.
This was like my first paid role.
Okay.
Like which was only like $100.
Okay. But you got paid.
But I got paid, but it was a good feeling because I was like, oh wait, I'm on set for like a day.
$100. And they taking me serious, and like for a day, $100?
For a day, but not even that, but just like $100 doing something I love.
Right.
That was like the feeling of it, like damn, I'm really getting paid for something I love to do. It might not be a lot, but I'm just like
you didn't feel like you were working
better than being
the entire day. You didn't feel like you were working. You were super excited.
I was excited to work
and geeked up to be on the set.
Exactly, but just being like an extra for like a couple months and then like not getting paid anything for like those little short.
For a couple months?
Yeah, you gotta. Like I'm saying, it's not for the money. I was doing it for the connection to see what I had like a bigger vision of what I wanted to do in the future. So that was in December. I ended up doing that, and it got received well. Now looking back at it, like you don't like how you acted when you were first starting because like you didn't know what the hell you were doing, but and then so that was in December, and then after that I ended up going back to doing extra work.
Okay.
Because I wasn't getting anything, and I still didn't have any representation at the time, and then I ended up getting my first like big commercial that I ended up getting on TV, which was for a Redbox commercial.
Come on, Teddy!
You saw it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
That one. I was a football player throwing.
You're right.
Throwing
Right.
the thing at
But come on, Teddy, the guy with the paper bag, was so infamous. I still want to know who that was.
I don't even know who it was.
You don't?
No, I don't even know who it was. Yeah. So that
Okay.
was like my first thing where I was like, whoa.
That's sick.
Like, I'm getting paid a couple bucks, more than $100, for a day's worth of work.
Mm-hmm.
And then I used that commercial, and like I knew how to I know how to like edit my own videos and put it in my reel. So I ended up doing like the little commercials I had done at the time and that web series. I sent it out to agencies on my own, and then I ended up getting through a connection through a friend. I ended up getting a manager, and that manager ended up connecting me to the agency that I'm with right now, still to this day.
And that agency, let's go ahead and shout them out, man. What is it? Love Stone.
Yeah, they're called Love Stone.
I did my research, man. So shout out to Love Stone Agency.
Yeah, they're killing it. They're killing it with commercials and then film and television for me. So, so I ended up doing that, and then still it went dry for a little bit. So I had to go back to doing more extra work after that and just trying to meet people, see what I can do, and then I ended up booking. This is 2018. I ended up booking, I think like a couple other little like short films and other little commercials, and then I ended up booking. This was 2018 in August. In September, I ended up booking The Way Back.
Starring Ben Affleck and
talented cast and crew.
I gotta ask you some questions about this.
Yeah.
So
that was like a year into acting.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what to me lets me know, like, if you're doing the work, if you're putting in the legwork, and if you're willing to start from the bottom and just kind of work your way up, because even like you said in school, you would want to go to these and just let me just be an extra and drive me over here and do all that stuff, and maybe things didn't add up at that time, but you eventually start working your way into those roles, and that opened up doors for you to be in this film starring some really incredible people.
Yeah, for real.
Like, I really respect that because Ben Affleck, great actor, Academy Award winning film that you were a part of.
Not an Academy Award winning film, but Academy Award winning actor.
Okay, there's a difference.
Yeah.
You put me on game. I didn't know. I was about to just say Academy Award is Academy Award. Yeah. Now, what would you say is some of the knowledge that you gained working with actors and actresses that were, on that level, being that you came from, working your way into the extra roles and doing commercials and different things like that? What would you say were some of the things that really molded you into, like, kind of building you into the actor that you're becoming right now? Yeah,
so we shot that over a course of 38 days. And it was like they had a budget for it and they had a time frame. And it was like no less, no more. So we ended up, rehearsing like the basketball plays and all that good stuff. I think for 2 weeks. Maybe a little bit more, but let's say 2 weeks. And just like the plays and how everything's going to go. And then we go on set and it's just like you have all these talented actors, not just Ben Affleck, but you have the assistant coach I was playing, Al Madrigal, and then Jeremy Radin, who was one of the school's priests, and then you have
Melvin Gregg, one of the actors that I definitely admire. I just seen him on a Nice and Neat podcast, but I really fell in love with his role as Man Boy on Snowfall. Yep. So I've been like, dude, when I did my research on you, like to see you working with such incredible people was amazing to me, man. And to have you on this podcast at such a influential point of our progress it's incredible, man. Like I really appreciate you for being not only being here, but just like what you bring to the table as motivation and inspiration to young people that don't know how things work. Like you said, I didn't know I could just go be an extra on this show, or I can go to and that's the start of something great, man. So like I really appreciate you for being here. Like
So going back to that. So what I did was I just ended up taking that opportunity to be with those guys and just picking their brains, because me still being fresh, a year into the industry, you're
right.
You
don't know anything.
You don't know anything.
Basically, a year doesn't mean nothing.
A year doesn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you even if you've been at it for like 20 years, you're still constantly learning new stuff through other actors or producers. Directors. You're still trying to pick up little things, because you don't want to ever feel content and feel like you know everything. You're always trying to be open-minded and trying to learn new things.
Sponge.
Be a sponge. You know?
Right.
So that's what I ended up doing. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take this time to just pick their brains and just learn new things from all those actors, from everybody, not just Melvin and all them, but all our other cast and crew members. You know, asking them about the business, like, hey, how does this work with like licensing and stuff like that? You know, because I'm really like,
naive. You're
but interested in it too. Interested,
right?
Because you know, in the future, I want to be able to direct and produce my own things, and not just be an actor, but just be of service to the whole entertainment industry. So I was really intrigued and interested and curious about it, and that's why I was just asking everybody around, how do you do this, or how does this work, blah blah blah. You know.
How did that feel? Like, okay, so now like you're this dude. You did a commercial, and you did a couple extra roles, and then they launch you into this movie, and you're like around these other actors. Yeah. You don't know exactly what role they took to get there, just like they don't probably know what role you took to get there. Yeah. They just know you auditioned for your role, you got it. Right. Now you're in the movie. Mm-hmm. Now you're working with all of these different people. How easy is it to communicate with these people, like, or get advice from these people, or whatever the case may be? Like,
so that's why it was kind of easy to get to know everybody, because one, we were all kind of in the same age group. Yeah. And two, by the time we were already filming, we had already known each other for like 2-3 weeks. Okay. Because we had already been rehearsing with each other. A nice briefing. We had already been rehearsing with each other at the gym.
Okay.
With through the plays that we're gonna be running in the movie.
Right.
So by the time we were on set, we're like, all right, cool. Like, we already know each other. We've already gone out to a couple of lunches together. We already joke around and kind of, you know how friends do. But
right.
So it was kind of a smooth transition to that. And mind you, my part wasn't big in the movie, but just the fact that being a part of that and being able to take that for future projects that I'm going to be able to do, it's a blessing, you know, because how many people it's tough to come into the industry and kind of be able to, like, the stars align for everybody on that, you know, and just be able to take the knowledge that I learned and I picked everybody's brains for on that, and just take that to other projects and be able to share that with other people if they ask me to, you know.
Right.
And
yeah, because I mean, I look at it like you said, even Melvin Gregg, one of the people you've been able to work with in the way back, he started off on Vine and was kind of working his way up and doing his thing, and that's kind of how he got his thing. And, like, honestly, the first time that I ever knew about Melvin Gregg was through Snowfall.
Oh yeah.
And so that man boy role, so like, to me, what it feels like is like you do your leg work until you get that one role where people are like, oh yeah, I respect what he's doing. Yeah. He's in the forefront, but until then, like, you're gonna have to accept these other roles, and so
just to try and get ahead and try to get your feet wet a little bit.
Get your feet wet, get used to it, get some experience.
Used to the cameras, get used to everything. But what people don't know is that, like, obviously now he's been on to do like shows on Hulu and other shows and movies,
Right.
but it's like they see that, but it's like they don't see what happened before that, how long it took him to be able to do that. And just by me looking at that firsthand, not just through him, but other actors that I've met along my journey in this short period of time I've been acting, it's like, okay, you get to learn what they did right and then try to avoid what they did wrong. So you don't make those same mistakes. You make your own mistakes, but you don't make those same mistakes that they do, you know?
Right.
But yeah, man, they don't know what how long it takes.
Right.
Like they say, you got to put in your 10,000 hours to perfect something, and then you got to still keep putting more hours into it.
Absolutely. So with that being said, give me your best advice for somebody that's kind of trying to work their way into the industry, like, because a lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
Like, it might start with Vine, it might start with TikTok, it might start with being an extra in this, or it might start with you doing a month of work for free, or 2 months, or a year,
or more, yeah.
Because I was watching a podcast the other day, and it was with Rick Ross, and Rick Ross said he worked for like 10 years.
Saw that one, yep.
For free.
Yeah.
And now his whole label was built around being the boss, and he's, his estate, his cars, his business.
I was just talking to that with my friend. I was like, everybody thinks that Rick Ross has all these cars and that big old 235-acre estate, but it's like what he said in the interview, that's paying for itself.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't do anything. I rent it out to movies, commercials, whatever it may be.
I can get the private jet because I know a couple other people that's going to use it a couple times a month.
I can invest in real estate.
And it'll pay for itself.
Exactly.
Yep.
But yeah.
So give me some advice for you, like for anybody that's diving into this acting industry, because I really feel like now with the way society's set up, a lot of people are kind of like you, where they're saying, hey, you know what, maybe the 4-year college role or direction isn't for me. And I feel like a little bit more artistic, creative, and maybe I can create and go in this direction with it. So what's some of the advice that you would give those people that are going in that direction?
Into the acting industry?
Not even just the acting industry, but just saying, hey, maybe college isn't for me, but I have this, this ideal, because you have, not only are you an actor, but you have a clothing line.
Right.
I'm assuming even that alone was one of the things that helped you bring money in after deciding that college wasn't your decision.
Yeah, I think it's just, if you think that's not for you, I think you just have to get a job or something that you hate doing that's going to force you to think about, okay, I don't want to do this, so what do I want to do? It kind of turns on the motors in your brain, okay, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life, so it kind of forces you to think, okay, what do I want to do? I would say that, and then just try different things. See what sticks, see what you like, see what you don't like. If it hits, it hits, and if it doesn't, at least you tried. Like, my thing for me, I just never want to live with that regret. I don't want to be 95 years old on my deathbed saying,
I should have tried that.
I should have tried it when I was in my 20s without family, without a wife or whatever. You know, while I don't have any of that right now, try it. You see what happens, and if it sticks, it sticks. And if it doesn't, if it works, and if it doesn't work out, but if you end up liking it, then just keep pursuing it because you never know. But for me, it's just always been about surrounding myself with the right people, with like-minded people. Not necessarily like being an actor, or an actress, but having the same mindset of just being hungry to get ahead in life and trying to build something for yourself. And I want to build generational wealth for my youngins when eventually I have my own kids and have my own family, and be able to say, you know what, my dad created this for us, and we can take his advice and go with it, or go our own route, but just be straight, But I think just trying different things and
figuring out purpose, it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
Because one thing that I'm getting off of you, because we talked a little bit before the show too, I feel like acting for you is your purpose.
Yeah.
Like, it's what you enjoy doing?
Man, when you're on set, that's the best feeling for me, man. Like that's what make like being with my family and friends makes me happy. But being on set, being around talented people, being around the lights and the cameras,
Soaking up game, learning,
yeah,
being creative.
Not just that, but being creative. That's what I was going towards. Not even just being on like big sets or whatever. Just being creative and creating something for myself. Like I just recently created a Terramana tequila commercial, which is the Rocks tequila.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
the eyebrow.
Exactly. So what I ended up doing is I saw that. First of all, I'm a tequila drinker. I don't drink beer. I don't drink any of that. I like tequila.
Oh, nice.
So what I ended up doing, I was like, okay, I noticed that they've been around for like a year and a half now, and they don't actually have like an official tequila commercial. So what I ended up doing was I bought my own camera, bought my own lens, and what I was doing with that is I wrote the treatment for the commercial, on my phone, and I was like, okay, I have an idea of where I want to shoot it, who I want to be in it. I have my friend that's gonna help me shoot it. I'm gonna edit it. I have the music behind it. I wrote the voiceover for it. My friend Brian helped me record it in his apartment. I was like, I have everything in my hands, so just try it, see what happens. So I ended up doing that. I wrote it, and I was just trying to piece everything together. I have my own craft services area with like my cookies, my drinks, my sandwiches, so that way my friends could be comfortable while we're shooting. So I ended up getting two of my friends that I met, one friend I met in acting class, and then another friend that I met through her. And then their two boyfriends and then me. So I told them what was gonna go down. They were down with it. They came up and they shot it with me out of my hometown in Victorville. And then I chopped it up, I edited it, and then next thing you know, I posted and I was like, with the purpose of like the Rock seeing it or somebody from the Rock team seeing it, right? And sure enough, within 2 hours it happened. So I ended up posting it, and I told everybody, I was like, tag The Rock, tag everybody from his team, his company, and so he can see it. And
do you guys hear this? I hate to cut you off, and I don't want to cut you off because we're going to continue this.
Yeah.
But that's the best advice that you could give anybody that's trying to get in the situation that you're in. You can't sit back and wait on the role to come to you.
Wait on it.
You gotta create the opportunity.
Create it yourself.
Nobody told you to go shoot the Rocks tequila video. You did that on your own.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that
and you're getting some traction because from what I know, you're getting some traction from the company.
Yeah. So the company actually commented on the post and they're like, "Damn, we love it." And then I ended up tagging one of the co-founders, and then all my friends ended up tagging him as well.
Exactly.
And he ended up commenting on it. He's like, "We love this. I'm gonna make sure Dwayne sees it." So that's another thing. That's another thing that I would say is like, don't wait for opportunities. Create them, and then other opportunities will just come by the grace of God, and the universe is gonna come to you.
Yes, sir.
Don't wait, because I don't just want to be a work for hire, as they say. Like I want to create my own stuff with the purpose of it eventually, who knows, having my own production company and producing shows and movies and stuff like, or directing and stuff like that. So The Rock hasn't seen it yet, but
it's happening.
It's happening. Like,
the hot seat, we finna help this happen, okay? Now I don't have as many followers as Herbert Morales, because I've never been in any movies, but what I'm going to say is this podcast is all geared towards elevating people to the next level. So anything that any of my followers, any people that genuinely mess with our podcast, I'm going to need y'all to, let's help launch that, man. We want to see Herbert's commercial for the tequila, for The Rock. We want to see The Rock. We want The Rock to see this and make it all the way official. The companies that already have seen it, the business is behind it, the concept. He's put his own legwork, his own resources, his own money and time into this.
So my thing behind
that's what we want to support. That's huge.
Not to cut you off, but my whole purpose was that I was like, my thing is like, my dreams and like my possibilities is what gives me going. Like it's the possibility.
Just a chance.
The chance of it happening. So I was like, you know what? You never know. So my whole thing was why I did it is like we can partner up and create this commercial at a bigger scale for audiences all around the world to see. Because I shot it with my Sony A7R camera, my lens that I bought, but why not shoot it and have him behind it and have me behind it, even acting it and direct it, or who knows? But
Right.
that was just a possibility for me, and it's just like just taking that chance and just, you know, you just saying, you know what, I have nothing to lose with this. If something good happens with it, great, and if it doesn't, at least I got my creative juices flowing and going, you know. So that's
it's something to put in the portfolio of anything.
exactly, and then I can put it on my acting reel, or my friends can do that as well. But right now, what I'm doing is just not, you know, I'm auditioning a lot, by the grace of God, you know, for different projects. But at the same time, I'm also writing my own things. At the same time, writing other, you know, a short film that I want to do, and another commercial that I have in mind of doing. So just staying busy and just being creative until, man, you just never know when your time's going to come. And I actually just said that the other day, what we were saying before this, like
stay ready,
so you don't have to get ready.
You gotta get ready.
So when your time comes, you're already ready.
Right.
And just be in the frequency and be in the energy of what you want to accomplish. Like if things are going bad, but if you focus on the bad stuff, you're only going to keep getting bad stuff.
Right.
If like they say, it's easy to think about the good stuff when things are going good, but it's a challenge of thinking about the good stuff when things aren't going so good.
Right.
So if things aren't going so good for you, put yourself in the headspace of what you want and just be in the frequency of that. How does it feel to be out of that slump? How does it feel to, you know, when you get that big paycheck? Or how does it feel when you are working your dream job, or when you're doing your dream career, or whatever? Like, how does it feel? What does it feel like? And just kind of lift yourself up off that funk that you're in.
Okay, so that brings me into the manifestation part of things, because you know, we spoke earlier and you were kind of speaking on the manifestation of things and how, you know, basically what you're saying now, visualizing what it is that you want in your life and speaking it into existence. So kind of tell me how important you think that is on being successful. Like,
Yeah.
because I mean, it's obvious you're not sitting around waiting on an opportunity to knock at your door. You're creating opportunities, you're passionate about things, you're going out and going over, you know, the expectation line to figure out, yo, how can I create extra opportunities? And from just that video for the tequila, for the rock, you not only created opportunities for yourself, but everybody that was involved in that thing. So tell me a little bit about that, the manifestation, and how you see that working in your life, and does it work, or do you advise people to speak those things in existence?
Yeah, it's not even about manifestation. It's just being in the right headspace for what you want. Because if you're in the wrong headspace, it's tough to do things that you want to do or achieve the things that you want to do. So I think like being in the right headspace and taking that, like we were talking about before, the first 30 minutes are crucial when you wake up.
Starting the day.
Starting the day, and that's what's going to kickstart your day off.
Right.
Like, instead of being on your phone, on social media, or texts or emails as soon as you wake up, like take those 30 minutes for yourself, or 10 minutes for yourself. If you don't have 10 minutes in your life, like you're doing something wrong. You gotta at least take 10 minutes for yourself and just prime yourself and just get ready, get yourself psyched up for the day, and mentally and physically, you know, do little push-ups and just get your mind right for the day.
Meditate, pray, whatever it is you do.
Whatever works for you, but for me, it's prayer, meditation, or affirmations, and tell myself, not coming from a want standpoint, like I don't want this, but coming from it like I already have it. Like I don't want a big career. I don't want that. I already have it. It's just like I always say, I already have all the things that I want, that I have envisioned for myself. It's just that time hasn't caught up yet.
Right.
So it's just waiting for
You're ahead of it.
I'm ahead of the curve. It's just that time hasn't physically caught up to me yet. I'm thinking about these things for a reason. It's because it's meant for me to achieve
to
them,
have it.
have it. So it's just that time hasn't caught up with me yet. So in the meantime, when time catches up, I got to do my part and prime myself mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually,
prepared for that,
to be aligned with my frequency, to be able to get that.
Herbert's in here dropping the business. That's what I'm talking about, man. I have to agree with you on that, man. And you know, a lot of times maybe as we're going through the process, we don't understand it to be exactly that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
you got to trust the process and enjoy it.
trust the process and enjoy it, because you know one thing about the process is that's almost the best part. When you get to the end goal, you're like, yeah.
But then
you go back and you reminisce about, remember when we was kind of like struggling and we was only doing this and we, you know, kind of like similar to our podcast, man. We just starting the podcast, man. Like for us to have an incredible guest like yourself for our second episode, to me, is like, I feel like we're doing great things.
But that speaks volumes, though, because how many people have all these ideas in their heads and they don't act on it? You guys had an idea and actually
act on it.
And executed your idea. So just you starting it, and it doesn't matter from the second guest to the 200th guest, as long as you started, you're already 50% of the way.
Yeah, you're so right. You're so right, man.
Yeah.
And thanks for that motivation to me, because I'm looking at somebody that's, like I said, been on TV series, movies,
and I'm just
commercials,
started.
and you just getting started. You get 3 times for that. Just getting started. So, you know, that motivates me, because I feel like, you know, I'm just getting started too.
Yeah, man.
And people are like, you know, I got friends and I got family and I got, you know, the naysayers that are like, bro, there's 1,000, there's 1,000,000 podcasts. What makes you think that yours is gonna work? And me, I'm just trusting the process. Like, I'm not saying that I'm about to make millions of dollars off of this podcast.
You're just saying, see what happens.
My goal is to put everybody that I know that's doing great things around me in the spotlight. Share my platform with them.
Yeah.
And in return, you know, obviously maybe they'll share their platform with me as well.
Yeah. Because you gotta think about it. Just like we were saying before, you don't want to be older and thinking about I should have, because that should have doesn't exist, or I could have. It doesn't exist. Like, you gotta do it.
Yeah. The time is now.
The time is, if there is no better time than now. Like, I feel like right now we have everything at our disposal. Like, we have technology, we have all these social media platforms that we can connect with other people across the world. Where before, 20 years before, or even 10 years ago, we didn't have that.
Yeah, you're right.
You know? So now is like the best time to go out there and just try things and see what happens.
Give it a try.
Just give it a try.
I don't have anything to lose. I'm a barber for my life. Like, that's what makes my money. Yeah. That's what provides for my family.
Right.
I'm a barber.
And you love to do it.
And I love doing it.
Yeah.
But what I also love doing is helping elevate, motivate, inspire, educate other people.
Yeah.
So that's why I think this podcast is so incredible. You know, not to toot my own horn, but like people like you being on here is what is a testament to how great it could be.
Not even that, but imagine you one day walking down the street or getting dinner with your family, somebody stopping you, hey, I love the Hot Seat Podcast.
Right.
Whoa,
what?
Making an impact like that.
Right. Yeah. And like, even I get that kind of feedback from my clients. Shout out to all my loyal clients, man. I really love you guys. There's no me without y'all, man. You help me support my family, and like, that's to me means the world. So just even my clients saying, hey man, I watched the episode of your podcast, or, you know, I love what you're doing with your clothing line, or whatever it is, it's always like that confirmation that you're heading in the right direction.
It's that confirmation. And that I feel like that's what you gotta do too. Like, when things aren't going right, sometimes just give me a sign.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, that sign's gonna come, whether you think it's today or tomorrow, whatever, but that sign's gonna come and give you confirmation you're on the right path.
Right.
It's up to you to just keep going, never give up, and just trust the process. And like I said, you know, like I just started acting like a couple years ago, but the things I've been blessed to achieve
to do so far
in that short amount of time, and what I'm working on myself, like writing and be able to do for myself while I'm still auditioning for these roles, it's just, that's what keeps me going.
Right.
And because I love it.
Right. So that brings me to the hit TV series My Block.
On My Block.
Yeah. Like, give me some information. Like, 'cause sitting down with you right now and talking to you, and then seeing you in that series, it's
You
totally
recognize
different.
without the tattoo?
You know what I'm saying? It's totally different. So, like, give us some information about what you do to get prepared for these roles. Like, how hard is it to break away from these roles? Like, how does that all work? Because sometimes I see it and I'm like, yo, man, I could watch a series and almost get into a role myself.
Right, yeah.
Where I'm like looking at things different.
Mm.
I'm like, nah, that ain't how it's gonna go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just kind of, so being in a series like on my block, tell me how does that go as far as preparation wise to get prepared for the role? How easy is it to detach from the role, etc.?
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody has their own different process. I could just speak for myself. Like,
Exactly, that's all I'm
for me, I come from a sports background, so I've been playing basketball since I was like 10 years old. So for me, like, music is a big part of getting ready for the game and before a tip off, you know. So I kind of just took that and transitioned into acting. So whenever I read the breakdown for a script for my character, I use music, and I try to while I'm reading the script, you know, once I read it, I try to pick a song that I feel will kind of get me into the character, just how it would get me ready for a game, for a basketball game.
Okay.
So for me, music is everything. Whether it be one song or a whole album or whatever, it just depends what the character
embodies
and needs from me. You know, what I feel comfortable with in choosing a song. So once I find that right song, it's over with. You know, I get to get down deeper and deeper into. Like I said, everybody's different, but to me, that's how I like to get into the role.
Like we said earlier, like you like, and that was a great analogy because I mean, I think there's going to be a lot more people that played sports growing up than there are people that are going to actually hit the scene and be an actor like yourself.
And sports, I've seen a lot of similarities with sports and acting. It helps me with the discipline of sports. It's helped me not even in acting, but it's just in life.
Right.
You gotta get up at 5 a.m. to work out, or you gotta
make it happen.
Or the diet has to be right, training has to be right. Nobody's gonna do it for you. You gotta do it for yourself.
Right.
The same thing with sports and acting and in life in general is what's kind of correlated together.
That's dope, man.
Yeah.
I think that's incredible. So, outside of On My Block, and for anybody that hasn't tuned into On My Block, I mean, it's still available. You can still go stream it now. You can still watch it now. Give them a little feedback about the concept of On My Block and how that, you know, situation worked out for you. Because like you said, you know, some of the roles aren't star roles or, you know, in the fork, but you're in and a part of something that's amazing that often kind of catapults you into the next situation.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the series, because it went for what? There's four seasons, right?
This last season that just came out a month ago was the last season. Season 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about that, how it started, your role in it, and you know how it felt to be a part of something that was like creating such a buzz, man. Because On My Block was, to me, I thought it was pretty popular.
Yeah, man. It's honestly one of the best sets I've been on. Everybody was so cool and genuine, but at the same time, not only for that, but it's because it was a predominantly all Hispanic cast and crew. And just seeing that diversity now, especially now at a time like this in Hollywood and the entertainment industry, having a Hispanic producers and directors, and our showrunner Lauren Lundgren, she's super cool and down to earth, and being around my people, I'm just like, okay, we're doing something right for the culture, for the industry, and like if we're doing something big for 4 seasons, our part was there for 2 seasons, season 3 and season 4. But if we're doing something right, like who's to tell what we can do in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, and what the industry's going to look like. But it was an awesome opportunity for me to be on and be able to learn from people that were there since season 1 and just pick, like I said, pick everybody's brain and just what I can take from what I learned there to all the other projects that I got coming up.
Right. Absolutely. I wanna definitely shout that out on my blog because I really feel like some of these TV series get in depth and kind of give a little bit more intel on the backgrounds that some of us come from, the experiences that some of us have had, and kind of gives people, you know, just a little bit of like, just know, like don't judge me, don't treat me this way. Like you should honestly be treating me like way better if you knew the shit that I came from, if you knew the things that I've been through, the things that I've seen. So like I love TV series like that are like a little bit more, what do they call it, urban?
Yeah, right.
You know, but at the end of the day, they're real.
It's real,
Real experiences.
And not just that, but the people behind it, they've been through that type of stuff. So that's what makes it real, because the people behind the project have been through that type of stuff. So then,
so hearing that the producers are Hispanic, and you know some of the not some, but the actors are like a whole set is. That's authentic.
Not the whole set, but predominantly.
Well, of course, not the whole set, but predominantly, like the people that have the most say, which is, you know, the directors, the actors, they're gonna give you what is real to them from where they came from.
Yeah.
And they're gonna expect people like you to portray that.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is so amazing, because you're able to do that.
Yeah, and not just
they
that,
picked you to do that.
Not just that, but not just
it. Yeah.
And then seeing all the fans like gravitate towards
and they're like, yo, I believe him.
Yeah, like I hate those dudes. Like it makes you're doing your job.
You're doing a good job.
Yeah, because you're making them believe that.
Yeah, because on Power, what was it? Power, and everybody hated what was the name? What was the son's name that killed Ghost?
The kid.
Yeah, Tyrone, whatever his name. They hated him in real life. What was his name?
Michael Rainey Jr.'s character.
Yeah.
What was his name?
Not Ghost's kid, right?
Ghost's kid.
Is it?
I thought his name was Tyrone or something like that. Anyway, Tyreek. They hated Tyreek in real life.
Yeah.
He was acting so good.
Yeah.
So like, that's what brings me to like, how hard is it to get out of these roles? Like, if you've been going on set for 30, 60 days and you've been portraying this character, like how hard is it to detach from that when you get, you know, home with your family or with, you know, around your regular friends or like whatever.
From the experiences I had so far, it's not even that hard, because once they yell cut, you just go back to goofing around. You know, you just got people playing music or we're goofing around, joking with each other, and then you just as soon as they hit action, you know what to do.
And then get back in there.
Go back into it. Yell cut or go back home. When you start off small and then you come up with each other, like my friends from like that I met from on my blog or other projects I've done, and then like we're all coming up at the same time, and it's cool to see that like 20, 30 years from now we can be like, man, you remember when we did that show, how we met on that show?
Right.
You remember, you know, all the trials and tribulations we had to go through, and now where we're at. Just like seeing other actors now, like I don't know, you can say like a Jamie Foxx or other actors that have grew with each other. And then now to where they're at, and then they reflect on their interviews. Remember 25 years ago?
We're here to elevate, motivate, inspire, educate, you know, the next movement, which is, in this case, Herbert Morales.
And I appreciate you for giving me the platform to tell my story, and if it helps people, it helps people, you know?
I really, truly think it's going to help people, and if it doesn't, it'll at least help me. So, with that being said, man, it's been another episode of The Hot Seat. Like I said about 4 or 5 times already. But Monty's good, and my editing team will figure that all out. But we're in the hot seat right now with Herbert Morales from On My Block, from the way back. Shout out to Mine. He was in a music video. We didn't even talk about that because he's doing so many great things. What else? The commercials. Come on, Teddy. And, you know, the clothing brand, man, he's got a lot of things coming your way. And what we're going to need you to do is support him, okay? Because you don't want to wait until he's blown all the way up. And then he's going to be looking down at you like, yeah, now you want it? Because it's going to be 275. Hey, it's another hot seat with hot topics and hot guests, man. We out of here. Hell yeah.
You're a natural at this.
You really feel like it?
Yeah.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that, bro.